Hi and welcome to my channel. So I'm here to bring you some of the best opportunities that there are in the UK. Get into healthcare jobs without spending any money and becoming obviously a qualified practitioner. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you two opportunities for brand new apprenticeships that are currently in the UK. And the best thing is that these two opportunities do offer visa sponsorship for overseas candidates. So, as you know, the NHS Workforce Plan was unveiled recently, and the main agenda for the NHS, which is the National Health Service in the UK, is that of providing as many apprenticeships as possible. This means that if you're paying money and going to university, not only are you going to be spending a lot of money, but it's going to be very difficult to get a job. This is because people that are doing apprenticeships, they are the ones that will be preferred. And so let me tell you why. When you go to university, for example, and study for 3 years, when you come out, they're going to ask you for 3 years of experience in that sector. And you're going to be sat there thinking, Melvis, why are they asking me for 3 years of experience? I've been a student. How do they expect me to get experience as a student? Well, someone else is going to come that has studied your same course, your same qualification. They've done it as an apprenticeship, and they're going to say, look, I'm here. I have just graduated, but I do have 3 years of experience. Who do you think is going to get the job? Look, if you're studying in the UK, this time and age is not about having money to go to university. It is about doing everything that you can to get into an apprenticeship, because 5, 10 years from now, there'll be no place for people that have gone to university in many courses, because that is already happening today. So if you're new to my channel, you're welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, you already know that I appreciate your time. And look, you're in the perfect place. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, you want to hit that subscribe button right now so you're the first person to be notified every single day when I drop a new video on here. Most importantly, if you check the comment section below, I've dropped a link to my newsletter. If you join that newsletter, I send information to you about career progression opportunities in the UK, such as what I'm sharing in today's video, new opportunities that are arising, free visa sponsorship opportunities to move to the UK or switch if you're already in this beautiful country, work from home jobs that don't even require you to have any degree, any experience. All they need are your problem solving skills, as well as starting your own side business. So you drop your name and email, and you're part of that newsletter, and you get that info directly to your inbox. So, what are these two jobs that I'm talking about? Obviously, these jobs are provided by the NHS. These opportunities are with the NHS. Look, I cannot stress and emphasize enough the advantages that you have in the UK working for the NHS. Career progression, the fact that the NHS is government owned, there are loads of opportunities to progress because of funding. You cannot progress without money, and the NHS has that money to guide the staff, to pay for the staff to study. So these opportunities are with the NHS. The first one is called the physiotherapy assistant role. When I say physiotherapy assistant role, I mean, you know where that's leading, right? If you want to become a physiotherapist in the UK, there is now this role that if you undertake, you can then do that through an apprenticeship, and you become a qualified physiotherapist without going to through the traditional university degree pathway, spending thousands of pounds over 3 years in order to do that. So, physiotherapy assistants, you can see vacancies right now as we speak. There are hundreds and hundreds of vacancies right now as we speak. So, if you're interested in this position, go to NHS Jobs website, that's where they are, and find those vacancies, because it is an amazing apprenticeship. You may be wondering, what is the job about? So with a physiotherapist, you're supporting patients with their physical health, which means, let me give you a practical example. If you've had surgery and you go to intensive care, for example, let's say you stay in intensive care for a week, you come out to the ward, you've been in bed all week. You're not just going to get out of bed and be like, hey, here I am, I'm now well, I'm out of bed, bang on, off I go. No, you're going to be in bed, and you're probably going to call your nurse or your carer and say to them, hi, nurse, I think I'm ready now to get out of bed, or something like that. And as the nurse, I'm going to say to you, Mrs. Smith, have you been out of bed since you came back from intensive care? They're going to say no. And I'll say, well, I'm going to get the physiotherapist to come and see you, or the assistant, the physiotherapy assistant. And then you're going to get them, and then they come over to the ward, they assess Mrs. Smith, and they look around. How do you get out of bed? Yes, you've been in surgery, there's all this muscle waste, whatever has gone on, and then they get them out of bed. If they get Mrs. Smith out of bed, they walk around the ward to make sure that she's able to walk independently. They assess her. It may be that they need to come a few more times to see how she's progressing. Absolutely spot on. When they do that and they're happy, they're not going to say, well, Mrs. Smith, yes, we're happy with you. You can now go home. Or you can now mobilize, but you need a frame to walk. That's a walking aid. So that's the job of a physiotherapist done. So when you're an assistant, when you're a physiotherapist assistant, you're actually assisting the qualified physiotherapist. But at the same time, you're doing an apprenticeship so that 3-4 years later on, you're going to become a qualified physiotherapist. And let me tell you the shocking thing, you don't need any degree, any experience, anything whatsoever to apply for this job. If you apply today with whatever you've got, that's all you need. So that's the first job. And then the next job is going to be our assistant therapist. Assistant therapist, you can see that the names are very, very similar. So you need to be careful when you're applying for each one to know which job it is. But if you're watching this, you're wondering, my name's Melvis. I work as an advanced nurse practitioner here in the UK. So I started as a carer myself, then progressed, studied nursing in the UK, and then progressed to working as an advanced nurse practitioner, which is the most senior clinical nursing position. I have a private career coaching program where I support with career progression in the UK, securing free visa sponsorship opportunities, securing jobs with the NHS, apprenticeships. You know what I mean? Just so that you can excel, you can thrive in your career. If this is something that you're keen on, you do want to check out the description box below or the about section of this channel, and you'll see a link to join my private coaching program. If you've got any questions, please do leave them in the comment section below and I'll join you there. Because these are amazing opportunities that if you are a carer in the UK or you're wanting to get into healthcare, you want to get into these apprenticeships because they are life and career changing. So the next one, like we've said, is the assistant therapist. They may have slightly different names across different trusts. Just check the job description and the person specification thoroughly well. So with this one, let me give an example with our Mrs. Smith. If the physiotherapist says to Mrs. Smith, "Oh, Mrs. Smith, yes, you need a frame to walk with. That's a mobility aid," and then as a nurse, I come to Mrs. Smith and I'm like, Mrs. Smith, what's your house like? Do you live in a bungalow? Do you live in a flat? And Mrs. Smith is like, well, nurse, I live upstairs, and I'm like, you've just had this surgery. Your legs are really weak and frail. How are you going to get up the stairs? I'm going to start thinking as a nurse, well, Mrs. Smith will need to go home at some point. Is she going to need any adaptations in her house? Is she going to need anything to hold to get up the staircase? Is she going to need a lift maybe to help her? Or is she going to need equipment for her to live, to have a downstairs existence while she recovers from her surgery? As a nurse, it is my duty to think about those other things. But then what I can do is get an occupational therapist. That's where this job comes in. You get an occupational therapist. So the assistant therapist supports the occupational therapist. So it's like an assistant occupational therapist. And so this job also, similar to our physiotherapy one, is an apprenticeship, which means that at the end of 2 or 3 years doing that job, being paid, by the way, you're going to become an occupational therapist. So again, imagine somebody who comes out of university and says, well, I haven't got any experience. I've studied occupational therapy in uni. Where do you expect me to get experience from? And then somebody comes who's done an apprenticeship and says, look, I've got 4 years of experience in this job. I've just graduated. Again, who do you think is going to get the job? Bang on. So these are new apprenticeships that the NHS has introduced across different trusts, across different organizations. You need to look out for these opportunities because this is the way to go right now. It is not about you don't have money to go to uni or anything like, no, it is about learning on the job, graduating when you know what the job is about, when you've got the skill, the experience, the confidence to do the job for which you're going to be paid. What do you think about these opportunities? Are they worth it? They definitely are worth it. But are you going to pursue them? Or is this going to be one of those videos that you watch on YouTube and it's like, it's another YouTube video, it's an amazing opportunity, and then you do nothing about it? I hope not. But if you go to NHS Jobs website, like I've said, you're going to see all these opportunities on there. And yes, you're welcome. um Let me know once you're successful. Leave a comment and say, hey Melvis, I'm going to implement this, because I'm not going to be wasting my time doing all these videos. But if you need that tailored, individualized and personalized guidance, I offer that through my coaching program. I've done similar videos for nursing, really detailed, extensive. You want to check those videos out. But these two are for people that want to become occupational therapists or indeed physiotherapists, which are amazing roles that, like I said, they do offer visa sponsorship. And I'll see you in this video where I did the pathways for nursing. See you in this video.